This is the Smart Beach Investor Podcast, where we explore how investors leverage real estate at the beach to live big lives and build their personal wealth. If you are an investor at the beach or you want to be, you found the right place. Enjoy today's show and be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode of the Smart Beach Investor.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. I am glad, fired up you're here. We're talking about real estate investing, how to take some of the risk out of real estate investing, and how to ensure your success. Let me start out here. Steve Bolton once said, the only bad time to buy property is later. Isn't that great? Or how about Armstrong Williams? He says, now, one thing I tell everyone is learn about real estate. Repeat after me, he says, real estate provides the highest returns, the greatest values, and the least risk. Perfect. Tom Wheelwright says professional investors do not speculate. Instead, they use specific criteria to make decisions, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Katie Lease is here.
Yes.
How are you, Katie?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Glad you're here as well as always. So, Katie, we're going to talk today about professional investing, right? No speculation, no emotional craziness. We're going to figure out our criteria, talk about criteria that we use to use decisions to make good, sound investing decisions. Fair enough?
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. So if you want to succeed as a real estate investor, you need to develop certain criteria such that you can make your buying decision or selling decision for that matter within 3 minutes.
That's what we're trying to do. Put everything in one box, and then when that hits, we're ready to go.
Easy peasy. If it hits, you don't even have to think, right? Does it meet my criteria? Yep. That's a go. Nope. Not.
I'm out.
Go. I'm out, right? Don't even need to consider it. I don't need to hear any more on it. So we're going to talk about it. Before we get into criteria, though, I want to talk about timing, because timing is a big thing in any investing, and especially real estate. I think the great Kenny Rogers once said, and I think you'll agree with me, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know when to walk away and when to run, right, Kenny?
That's right.
Yeah, Kenny knows what he's talking about. He's probably a great investor. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, we talked about market cycles and the timing with those, right? Recovery, expansion, hyper, supply, recession, okay? And you don't want to get caught in the wrong one there as an investor. But today, we're going to talk about personal cycles, right? Mm-hmm. The personal cycles are this. You're just getting started, like you, right? You and Martin, just getting started.
Right where I'm at.
Perfect, right? And then there's some folks that are in the middle of building their real estate portfolios. Maybe they have 10 properties or 2 or 50, okay? Then there are the other folks that are on the end. They're getting out, right? They're packing it up, winding down, whatever, and they're getting out and they're selling. So they just need to be a little bit aware of their personal cycle and how it aligns with the overall market cycle. So that's the timing. And what we want to talk about today is the criteria, because that's going to help with the timing dramatically. Because as we talked about, it makes easy decisions. 3 minutes, I can decide if I want in or out, buy or sell. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then I can just simply watch the market.
And that's really important for where I'm at in the cycle of in the beginning. So I know this is what I want. This is the only thing I want, and to pull the trigger right away.
Yes. If the right thing shows up. We are not going to compromise. We're going to figure out what the criteria is. And when a property shows up under that, you'll buy it. Mm-hmm. And then you'll know, well, we're going to talk about for a minute here, right? Warren Buffett says, risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. And we're going to know what we're doing. Because if we create this criteria, and we're going to go into it for selling first, and buying's a little bit more involved, because in investing and in real estate investing, you make money on the buy, not necessarily on the sell, right? And you make the right decision on the buy, that's when you make your money. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's going to take a few more things to talk about. But we'll talk about when should you sell, okay? And the thing about selling, you should know when you buy your exit criteria. And that's what we're going to talk about real quick here in a second. Your exit criteria, when do you get out? How do you know it's time to sell? Do you just feel it?
Yeah, or life changes, I guess.
Life changes.
Because kids graduate.
Yeah, we don't want to just feel it. We don't want to get caught up in the hype. We don't want to get worried about what's going on. We want to sell.
It's that emotion thing.
We don't want emotion. No, we want to sell when certain things happen. And let's talk about those certain things. I wrote down 5 of them. Number 1, the reason why you'd sell is a target price was reached. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to buy a property for X with the idea that when it reaches Y, I'm out.
I'm out. Mm-hmm.
I'm selling. That's my trigger. I'm selling. If you buy at 250 and it gets to 500, I'm selling at 500. I'm out. Do you wait until it gets to 550?
No.
No, you're out. I know. Do you sell at 420?
No.
No. You get out when it reaches your number. It makes it real easy at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So target price is reached. That's number 1. So before you buy anything, make sure you have an idea of what your exit strategy is. What's my target price I'm going for when I buy this property? Got it? Okay. Number 2, an event, a target event is reached. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What are those events?
Like I said, maybe like your kids graduating.
Okay.
You get married, I guess. You need to get something bigger.
Marriage an event.
You change jobs, you retire, all kinds of different
Right.
things.
Kids graduate, college, retirement, events occur, right? And when those events occur, that's a tick. I'm selling,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're selling to pay for your kids' college, do you sell when the kid's in 6th grade?
No.
No, right? If you're retiring in 15 years, do you sell tomorrow?
No.
You don't. You sell when that target is reached. And before you go in to buy, you want to know what your criteria is for your exit. A third criteria you want to think about is emergencies. You may sell in an emergency, right? House burns down. I want to sell. You get cancer or you're sick. You might want to sell. Bankruptcy. Company goes out of business. You lose your job. Things like that. Emergencies could be a sell
Mm-hmm.
indicator. All right. We don't know when those happen. Here's a good one. The stupid money offer, right? You buy something for 500. Somebody comes in. Hey man, I'd like to buy your house. Here's $1.5 million. You want to sell it?
I'm out.
Out. See ya. Here's the keys. You
Yeah.
can keep the kids. I don't care. See
Yeah.
ya. Bye. Right? Yeah. That's the stupid money offer. You sell when it gets to a point. And here's how you know it, Katie. Here's how you know it. Somebody offers you a number. You say to yourself, would I buy for that price? And if the answer is no,
I'm out.
I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Here's your property. Enjoy it as much as I did. I'm out. Right? The stupid money offer. Okay. The last one I wrote down, simply better use. You can use your money better somewhere else. Okay. So if I sell and I get a big chunk of money, the only reason why I would do that is I can take that chunk of money and make it a bigger chunk of money.
Mm-hmm.
You with
Invest
me?
it somewhere else.
Maybe you get an inside tip that Bitcoin's running and you got a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Better make sure you're on your guy, but maybe you got a guy and you sell and you're going to roll it into something else. Maybe you got a business opportunity. Maybe any number of things are going to come up, and they do come up. All right. But those are your 5 criteria. Target price is reached. A target event is reached. There's an emergency. Somebody offers you stupid money, or you come up with a better use. Okay. But here's the thing, Katie. In real estate, keep in mind, the longer you hold a property, the more likely you are to have success. The market goes up over time. It'll go down, up, but over time,
You can
You
ride
wait-
out
you
anything.
can ride it out. So be careful. So those are your sell criteria. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Your exit strategy. And should never go into anything without an exit strategy, right?
Yeah, and it sounds like even selling is also in a box.
It's in a box.
Yep.
You don't need to think about it, right? Let me think about it. No, there's nothing to think about. Really, what it comes down to, let me check. Is it in my criteria? Does it fall inside the box? Well, if it does,
I'm out.
I'm out. Thanks. Okay. How about buying though? So buying, we said, you make your money when you buy. So buy right, be smart what you're doing, right?
You're investing.
You're investing. You're looking for a return on your investment. And in theory, we're not speculating. We're not gambling. We're being smart. So we're going to create a list of criteria, and there's a bunch, and everybody's got their own. And we're going to talk about the ones that I have and I've developed, and they work good for me. They're working good for Courtney, and I'm sure they're going to work for you and a lot of our other clients. So let's talk about them here, because you want a well thought out plan and a strategy. Okay. And once you get that, do you veer from it?
No.
I can't imagine how or why. Now, you might want to tweak it, right? You might want to pull off on your planned road trip because you got to go to the bathroom or get something to eat. But you're getting back on the road, right? You're not going to go through the back
end
roads.
destination is still the same.
You're still the same, right? You're still getting on that super highway because that'll get you there faster and more surely. So you certainly want to look at your criteria once in a while, evaluate how's it doing, just to make sure if you need a tweak, you can tweak. But the win is knowing your game, sticking to your plan, and riding it out over time. Okay. What does this mean? Sometimes you're going to miss out on a big one. Somebody's going to come up to you and say, Katie, I got an unbelievable deal. You got to bite on this thing. It's going to be unreal, but it doesn't fall inside your box. Do you do it?
No, I can't.
You can't do it. It doesn't fall in your box. Even if it's going to be the greatest investment ever, right?
Greatest investment
Bitcoin
for
at
somebody
20
else.
cents, you can get in. Awesome. That's not my thing.
Mhm.
Okay. And that means you're going to miss out on some big things. So every now and then, you should have bought, what were they saying? It's a Wonderful Life? Plastics.
Yeah.
George should have gotten into plastics. Well, he
But
should
it
have.
still worked out in the end.
Still worked out in the end, right? It's the same thing here. You're going to avoid the big miss. It'll save you from catastrophe. And as long as you do your stuff over time, you'll win. Okay. You miss out on the big one, but you avoid catastrophe. And that's a better game to play. All right. Buying criteria. There's a bunch of them. We're going to talk about 9 that I came up with. Number 1 that I have, cash flow. Okay. Cash flow. A property has to bring in more money than it puts out, or else it's a bad investment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And don't get caught up. Well, if I do this, or if it does that, or if the sun shines 3 more days a year, it'll do this. No. If the property right here, right now is cash flow positive, that's a good investment.
But you can make it better, though, with some other things that you do.
But what if you can make it better? What if you have your team in place and your team can take that exact same property, but because of leverage and different things, you can create a multiplier on that.
Go from good to great.
You can go from a good investment to a great investment. You're absolutely right. Okay. And what you really want to watch out here on the cash flow thing, because markets go up and they go down. You're in this for a long haul. You're going to feel that. You do not want to get stuck in a down market, having to sell in a down market, right? And the only way you would have to is if an emergency or something comes up, or you're not cash flow positive. You're leaking money every month, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a hole in your bucket. That ain't a good situation.
So this investment's got to ride out the good and the bad.
At least the bad.
Yeah.
If you want to sell in a good time, that's great. But you have to be able to ride out a bad market. And the way you do that is as long as the inflow of money is greater than the outflow.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that happens. If it doesn't happen, do you buy it?
No.
Pass. Can't do it. Right? Okay. The second thing is rental income. You got to take a look at the rental income. All right. Does the current rental income for this property, how much is it producing, and compare it to how much others that are similar, or maybe your past experience will tell you, right? I'll give you an example here. I have a 1-bedroom condo. It produces, we're going to get 60 this year, but in a normal year, it's $50,000. Okay. I know that. We own 2 of them, half for years, and they bring in this much money every year. So when somebody tells me they have a 1-bedroom condo that they're selling, and I ask what's going on with the rental income, and they tell me they're getting $27,000 a year. Okay. I ask them, does that cover? Are you cash flow positive on 27? And if they say yes, what do?
That's a good deal.
It's a good deal. Because then in my mind, I say, oh, wait, at 27, it's a good deal.
50.
What is it at 50?
Yeah.
That's a great deal. Okay. So what is the rental income is the second thing that we're looking at, right? Will it be cash flow positive under the current state that it's in? Because I also know that if I apply my team, right? Property managers, interior design folks, handyman, contractors, all that stuff, that they can come in and they're going to supercharge what's already there. It's going to take a good investment and turn it into a great investment as long as the rental income's good.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next one goes right with it. Number 3, cost to own. What's it going to cost me to own this darn thing, right? HOA fees, monthly this, mortgage stuff, fixing stuff, insurance, all that stuff. What's the cost to own on this property, right? If I can make it work with the rental income and everything and the cost to own as it is now, it's a good investment for me. Same as the other one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, if I buy this thing and I can put my team of experts, my property managers that are really good, my maintenance guys that are really good, put in all these economies of scale, I get an even better or lower cost to own on that thing. It makes my investment that much better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got to look at your cost to own. If it's not making money with the current cost to own, is that a good investment?
No.
Do you buy it?
No.
No. What if you think you can do something?
Well, I'm going to have to really make it great.
It better
right?
be something big, right?
To push me over.
But you know what? This is kind of like the Bitcoin thing. If it ain't right now, pass.
Yeah.
Because there'll be some that are right now. Go with them. Let's take the risk out, right? You don't want heartache and heartburn and anxiety trying to figure
This is supposed
out.
to be an easy decision.
It should be something you can do in 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 4, market type. I'm talking about short-term vacation rental versus annual lease. You got to have your criteria. Very hard to do both. Okay. We know Courtney, co-worker of ours, she's great. She owns a house and she just bought a condo investment, right? She's kind of stuck in the middle there, isn't she?
Dabbling in both.
Okay, but let's just be clear. The reason why she's dabbling in both is her first investment property was that house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was also the house she lived in that when she bought a new house, she just kept it as a
rented
vacation
it.
rental, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it came time to actually find another investment property, her criteria said, I want a condo. I want to be on the Gulf. I want it to make this much money. I want to do this, this, and this. And she found that.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
She just closed on it this week.
Yeah. She found it fast because she had her box ready to go.
That property fell within her box of criteria, and she and her husband were able to pull the trigger on that thing within what, 10 days, 15 days?
It was quick.
Right, close, cash, boom. She's got another property. Well on her way to millions of dollars. So annual lease a little bit different, right? You have different terms, different criteria, different legal stuff, all kinds of things that go with it. 2 distinct markets, especially when you're starting out. This matters especially. Now, after you've owned a few properties, a number of years go by, maybe you want to go from a property that is a vacation rental condo to maybe a house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can make that jump. But when you're first starting out, be very, very careful to keep it
the same. So you're saying if my box is a condo on the beach, then my next one should be a condo on the beach too, because I'm already have all this knowledge and I'm comfortable with the first one.
Not only you, but your team.
Yep.
Right? Your vendors know what I'm going to put in the same thing I put in over there. So you know your cost,
you
your
just
time.
clone it to the next one.
Just make them all look
I use the same people. I just keep
right.
cloning them.
The same marketing, the same everything, right?
Yeah.
You get economies of scale from that. When you start jumping to a house or a commercial property or whatever, you lose all that.
Starting new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you first start out, very difficult to do. When you're seasoned and you got a bunch of stuff, careful. But yeah, you can do it, but careful. So just think about that. Okay, the next criteria I got written down here is property type. House, condo, commercial, multifamily. Pick a horse and go with it for the same reasons that we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain expertise that you and your team come up with, right? I've got them narrowed down to a house and condo because that's kind of the world that we operate. And while they're both vacation rentals or they're both long-term rentals or whatever, they're still different because a condo, you own the walls in, drywall in. A house, you got the yard, you got the roof, you got all kinds of stuff. They both have HOAs. They both have all kinds of things. But rules change, right? If you're in a different part of the country, certain cities have different rules for their neighborhoods. Can you rent a house long-term? Airbnb, right?
Yeah.
Not so much. We were just out in Phoenix, and the rules there are changing fast, where they're making property owners of these Airbnb properties, minimum rent is a month. That's a long stay
Wow.
for a bachelorette party,
Yeah.
right? Who knows? And that changes the way you operate. And boy, it'd be a really tough thing to think you had a short-term Airbnb going when all of a sudden you got a minimum month rental and you got to put Joe and Mary from Chicago in there instead of, a bunch of girls down from LA for a big night, big weekend. So you got to get your property type figured out. The next one, location, your criteria. Before you buy, you got to have all these things for your box, right? These are all these things that are going to go in the box. So the market location, this is where the property is located. You got to know that before you decide to invest or not.
Yeah. And so would it be better to invest in Destin or Panama City here in our area or
Okay, great question, right? Right. So really what you want to look at is where do you want to be? I like Destin because I know Destin. Been here, I know it. I know the good neighborhoods are good buildings, the bad buildings, the good neighborhoods, bad, but whatever, right? If I have to, I can race over and see it, whatever. But say you go to Panama City, that's where Courtney bought.
mm-hmm.
Nah, that's not so far, is it? I mean,
No.
we do a lot of business over there, right?
Yeah.
We're opening up over in Orange Beach. Not so bad. We go to Orange Beach all the time. If I was to jump, and we will eventually, but if I was to jump to Myrtle Beach or out in California or Texas, South Padre Island or something like that, be a little bit different, I think. While it's the same, the marketplace is different. The location is different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you're new and you're starting, you want to make sure that you're in a location that you can get to easily, or maybe you already own. Maybe you own a place in Lake Tahoe, so you get another one. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe you're going to buy in a place you like to vacation. Maybe you like to go to New York to Broadway, 4 times a year. All right, well, maybe you buy a place there because you know it and and you're going to stay there. Maybe. But it's starting to get a little further out on your criteria list, right? So take a hard look at the market location. Yeah, you can go a little ways. And again, the longer you're in this, the more seasoned and experienced you get, the easier it is to go elsewhere. But remember, your team has to go elsewhere too. And or you need 2 teams.
Yeah.
Or
The
any
team
number
is
of
very important because,
Oh,
I mean, that's really going to make or break it sounds
it
like.
can make or break you, right? You get the right folks helping you out. And nobody does this alone, right? The one person that comes down and paints and does the rentals and
Yeah.
good luck. Good luck. You get the right team, you're going to blow right past those people. You're going to crush your rentals. You're going to crush your cost to own. You're going to crush your freedom, your time to do whatever. Okay, here's one we haven't talked about. It's a little bit lower on the list, and that's price. You'd think it'd be way up at the top, but really, when you think about it, Katie, as long as the property's bringing in more than that's going out, price doesn't matter nearly as much. Okay, if a property is going to cost you $10 million, but it's going to bring in $1 million a year rental income in profit, you'll have investor money lined up around the block that'll help offset your buy-in costs. So as long as your fundamentals is bringing in more than that's going out, price really starts to take a back seat. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Now it matters too, because not everybody's comfortable. Oh yeah, I'm looking for a $10 million place. Some people are more comfortable at 150,000, 500,000, $1 million, whatever it is. There's a certain emotional comfort level, right? So that's got to be there. I mean, if you can't sleep because you bought a $2 million place, that's going to be a problem for you. So be careful of your price.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's important, and it's something you got to watch out for and make it part of your criteria. Okay. Got a couple left here. Mortgage, right? This is leverage. You're using other people's money, the bank in this case, right? Again, it comes back to the income is greater than the outflow is everything, but the mortgage criteria is massive. How much do you have to put down to make this thing work, right? Maybe you don't want to use up all your cash. Maybe you're going 50%, 80% down, maybe 20% down, whatever it is. You want to know what that number is before you even look at it, right? You want to know what's your mortgage rate. If mortgage rates get above 4, which seems crazy a couple of years ago, but now it'd be crazy to get above 4 or certainly 5, you don't want to play. Or if you have a variable rate, that could be a problem. You're locked in, you're expecting a certain rate for the next period of time, and then all of a sudden it goes up. Killed people back in the day. They were locked in at one rate, the market adjusted, their rate went up, and all of a sudden they're underwater on their month-to-month. Problem, right?
Yeah.
If their criteria was such that they didn't want a variable rate, they wouldn't have got crushed. They wouldn't have been in that position.
So even that needs to be in your box too.
It's got to be in your box. The more stuff you have in the box, the tighter your criteria is, the less risk you take on, and the more success you'll see and the happier you'll be and all that. And then, like we said, the last thing is the exit strategy. We talked about that of when to sell. Okay. Always, always, always go into your buy with the exit in mind. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So always do that. So those are your things right there. If you look at them, cash flow, rental income, cost to own,
the mortgage, you want to make sure that's in your box too, which I never really kind of thought about that because that seems like it's the next level. But as an investor, I need to have that part ready to go as well because that is a huge part of it. So I can pull the trigger quickly and fast, such as just as my budget that I have, how many bedrooms I need and stuff. I need to have all that lined up as well.
And if you do, it really makes it easier. Market type, property type, market location, price, mortgage, exit. These are just the ones I have. There's a bunch of others, insurance, tax advantages, things like that for sure you're going to look at. But if you get those 9 down and you get your exit strategy of when to sell, sky's the limit on what you're going to do. And the great thing about this, Katie, is once you know your criteria and you start talking to other folks, they're going to learn your criteria, and then they're going to start bringing you deals that meet your criteria. And you're just going to look at them. You're going to say, does it have this? Does it do that? Does it have this? Does it do that?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. No. Oh, sorry. Not my deal.
I like the box thing, especially as somebody like in the beginning of the cycle, just getting into this because it can be overwhelming. And then when you have everything, okay, I know I want this, this, and this, and that's it. You're not looking through a million different properties that don't fit your criteria. It's just this one little box and that is it. It really kind of does help somebody in the beginning stages like myself.
All stages. It makes it real easy. It makes it easy for you. It makes it easy for your team. It makes it easy for your lender. It makes it easy for everybody. And then you can decide within 2 or 3 minutes, does this fit?
I want this one.
This one works. Who do I write the check to? Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
It takes 2 minutes. No way
Love
to
it.
go. How great is that?
Love it.
So there you are. If you all work within that environment on your investing, you get rid of the risk, you increase the success, and you increase the likelihood that you're going to really enjoy investing. Make sense?
Yeah.
There you go, folks. There you go. So give that stuff some thought, and we'll talk in the future about some of the other things on how you can be a smart beach investor. Till then, though, go get them.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Beach Investor Podcast, where we explore how investors leverage their real estate at the beach to live big lives and build their personal wealth. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode of the Smart Beach Investor.